I guess starting off, it's Alabama LSU week. I know you played in that game. What's it all about that makes it different?
Number one, it's going to be a night game. Um,
Yeah.
the weather should be. I don't know how the weather's going to be. At the end of the day, I think the home crowd has to play a big factor in this game. Understanding that it is in Tuscaloosa, they got to take advantage of that. Understanding, I'm not going to say revenge factor or any of these other things. It's more about, do you want to win the SEC West or not? So you got enough things on your plate to understand how important this game is, not only for this team but for everybody that's involved with that program. I think it's going to be a really great game, and Alabama has to find a way to slow down Jayden Daniels and this LSU offense, and nobody's really had that formally yet so far. It'd be interesting to see what Alabama tries to do. Me personally, if I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm focused on a rush plan to really try and keep Jayden Daniels in the pocket, make him beat you from there, and because once he starts using his leg, it just changes the game completely. It's deflating for a defense, and it also really gives them a lot more momentum and keeping drives alive. So, and we'll see. Alabama's got to be able to run the football to try and keep the offense off the field, and also be able to score at a high amount. This game cannot get into the 40s, 50s. That's not a game Alabama wants to play. It has to be in the upper 20s, mid 30s. Maybe a low 40, but that's the only way that Alabama wins this game. But I'm really excited about it, just for opportunity to go out there and play against the best of the best. That's what you got to be excited about. That's what you go to these schools for. That's why you come to the SEC.
The way Alabama has improved throughout the year, both offensively and defensively, kind of what's your assessment of that?
First of all, defensively, I think they've taken leaps and bounds. I think the defensive secondary for me has been stalwart of this defense. I think they're able to play multiple coverages. Their eyes are usually in the right places. They got some young, talented players that are really stepping up and doing some really great things. Hopefully, they're all healthy. That's coming off the bye week, and when you're great in the secondary, it also allows for the rush to kind of get home, and then for them to impact the game up front, and then that helps them on the back half too. So it's a back and forth team effort on the defensive side, and Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, these two guys are really starting to step up and make plays. Also, some of the interior D linemen. So Alabama looks better from week one, week two. Versus where they are right now. They got to continue to keep that momentum going. On the offensive side, I think they're doing a better job of protecting the quarterback, at least versus Tennessee. They did a much better job. But I got to give Tommy Rees a lot of credit for using tight ends, chipping these ends, really trying to slow down this pass rush, especially on the left-hand side of their offensive line, and then being able to establish the run. I don't think they've ever been great at running the football this year, but they are an explosive offense that likes to take the top off the defense. And Jalen Milroe's done a great job of really giving his wide receivers opportunities in one-on-one situations. And he is figuring out what he needs to do, not just trying to make the home run play, but just understand the layups. We make enough layups, we'll still win the game. And I think he's understanding that, reading coverages. And we did an interview with him a couple weeks ago on Read and React with me on my show Monday nights with Cole Cubic. Check us out, thank you. And it was really good sitting down talking to him, hearing what he's thinking. And when I watch him on tape, he's thinking the same thing that I'm seeing on tape. And so that lets me know he is advancing and doing the right things. His eyes are in the right place, and he's reading the right things.
Auburn finally got the monkey off their back. First SEC win under Freeze. Just where do you feel
that was, huh? That was
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Look, man, I actually really like what Auburn's doing, especially in the coaching staff. I think they're getting a lot out of their players. Peyton Thorne played better. He completed some passes. He let the ball go. He let his wide receivers have one-on-one situations. I thought Mississippi State was a little bit more friendly on defense than I would have liked, but hey, they won the game. They did a great job. I think also getting Jacquizz Hunter the ball as much as possible is also going to help that offense out. You're not going to go out there and, if you're Auburn, win games when you're throwing the ball 40 times. That's just not who this offense needs to be. But if they can run the football effectively, then Peyton Thorne's throwing the ball effectively, and he also uses his own legs because he's sneaky athletic, Auburn will be able to compete. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule. They should be 7-4 going into the Iron Bowl, and if they're not, it's a little bit disappointing. But as of right now, I wouldn't say they've lost a game that anybody didn't anticipate them losing already before the season. So they're kind of right on schedule. Sometimes I look at them, I think they're ahead of schedule. They're just missing a couple pieces, and you'll either have to recruit your butt off to get that, or you go hit the transfer portal, which now that's the reason why nobody can wait 4 years for you to get your recruiting staff. And it's like, no, you should just go get guys. So I really like what Hugh Freeze has done in that whole staff. So overall, Auburn's right on target, and they got a big Iron Bowl at the end of the year that can really just, seal them a great season or not. That's kind of a determining factor for them.
First playoff rankings came out. Were you as surprised by it as a lot of people seem to be that, Ohio State won, Georgia wasn't number one, that sort of thing?
I mean, if anything, yeah, that would kind of take it back, but Georgia doesn't care. All they're doing is giving Georgia more motivation.
Yeah.
This is like what they do, and it doesn't matter about how much they win by, when they do, but all they do is win. And when it comes to a big game, big moment, all they do is rise up and beat other teams back down, and it's not even close usually. And Georgia knows who they are, and Kirby knows who that team is, and they've been able to recruit at the highest level, and their players get better once they get there. The competition level is extremely high, and the best players will play, and they're physical. Their physicality when they play offense and defense really pops out on tape. They're more physical than every team they'll face, and that is usually a recipe for winning ball games. Kirby Smart talked about it on Saturday on our show, SEC Nation, about the physicality of this game, and whoever usually wins the line of scrimmage wins the Florida-Georgia matchup. And Georgia-Florida, because they won the game. But Georgia won that, and because of that, they won the game pretty decisively. And you got to give them a lot of credit for the way that Georgia's always continues to rise up and do what they do. And a lot of credit goes to Carson Beck, who's really playing extremely well this year.
Last thing, Alabama is sitting there at 8. I assume that means you feel like they got a really clear path to getting there if they win out.
The biggest thing is all these teams. Like, we talk about the rankings every year. Tennessee was ranked number 1 last year when the first Pro Bowl came out. So everything usually works itself out at the end of the day. And that was motivation for Georgia last year. We're like, oh, you guys are going to put Tennessee in front of us. It's fine. All they do is just continue to go out there and win a championship game. Alabama, just control what you can control. That's all you can do, is just try and win. And it's very interesting to see this Alabama team, because Nick Saban seems like he really enjoys this team. This team really seems to enjoy being around each other. And sometimes you don't know who you're going to be at the beginning of the year. People tell you you're good, but you still got to go out there and prove it to yourself and to others. And that's where this team is at. And I don't worry about it at all. I mean, I can't control it anyway. But those things always work itself out. Just go win, and you'll be fine.